Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a super simple way to create beautiful crystal molds. So in order to do this, all you will need is some crystals and some silicone rubber. My mom here will be using 2 amethyst crystals and 1 pyrite crystal. She'll be using silicone rubber from Resin, which is really easy to use, and I'll have this linked in my description if you want to try it out. So you will need a container to pour your silicone rubber into, and for this you can really use whatever you have on hand that will fit your crystal inside. So for the first container, my mom has what used to be coconut sugar, and to make it a more appropriate size, she's using scissors to cut off the top half. She makes sure that her crystal fits inside nicely and there's still room around the edges. For her next crystal, she'll be using a plastic cup and again take some scissors just to get rid of that top half. And for her last crystal, she'll be using a Greek yogurt container. This silicone rubber is a 1-to-1 ratio by weight, so you will need a small kitchen scale to be able to properly measure out each part. She starts by pouring her part A and is pouring 200 milliliters. And she pours the same amount for the part B. Then, using a silicone mixing stick, she mixes those two together well. You do not want to use a torch gun on silicone rubber, so to get rid of any air bubbles, you can lightly pick up and drop your cup several times, and this will help any air bubbles that are trapped on the bottom to rise to the top. It should be mixed for 3 to 5 minutes, so once 5 minutes has gone by, it's ready to be poured into the containers. She starts to pour into the Greek yogurt container, and she's pouring very slowly to help minimize any air bubbles. She covers the crystal completely, and later, once this is hardened, she'll be able to remove that top layer to get to the crystal. So there are some air bubbles that are coming up on their own now, and these can be popped just by using a wooden stick. And to help this process, again, my mom is gently lifting up her cup and dropping it several times. And she mixes in her silicone rubber once more to do the remaining 2 crystals. Again, she adds equal parts of the A and B, measuring it with a small kitchen scale. Then she mixes the 2 parts together for around 5 minutes. Unfortunately, her camera stopped working before she poured into the 2 containers, but she repeated the same process she did with her first container. You can check up on your silicone rubber to make sure that it's hardened before you're able to remove it from the container. And this might take a little more time than resin does, so it might not be ready to demold the next day depending how much of the silicone rubber you've poured. Smaller projects will harden a lot faster than larger projects, so for something of this size, and depending on the temperature of the room that you're working in, this can take around 2 days to completely harden. She frees the silicone rubber from her containers. Then using a small X-Acto knife, you can use that to carve out the area where your crystal lays. And once you remove your crystal, you have a beautiful mold to be able to pour your resin into. This silicone rubber is great to use, and you can really see how it picks up the shiny areas from the crystal, which will then result in a shiny resin pour. I have another video on my channel where my mom made a similar crystal mold with a larger amethyst crystal, and I also showed the result of pouring resin into it, so if you're interested in some result videos, I'll leave that linked above. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.